year, for her birthday, my mother wanted to go to a spa in Calistoga, and she invited me to come along. And I was terribly excited about this because a spa day in Calistoga in October is totally the kind of thing that fancy people do. And in my mind, I am quite fancy. Admittedly, I do fall a bit short in my real life. And I think this is largely because I have no money. If I'm honest with myself, I think even if I came into a fortune, I might still be missing some of the basic building blocks of fanciness. So my first problem is that a certain level of service embarrasses me. I'm way more on the, oh, I'm terribly sorry if it's not too much trouble end of the spectrum than the minion do my bidding end of the spectrum. And the second problem, which is obviously very much intertwined with the first, is that I have absolutely no idea how much you're supposed to tip anybody for anything outside of a restaurant. So, if I've embarked upon an experience that I know will culminate in a gratuity, I just fret about it the entire time. So, as much as possible, I avoid taxis and valet parking and anybody who wants to assist me with my luggage in a professional capacity. But the sort of saddest problem I have is that things that would fall under the general heading of pampering usually just sort of don't work out for me. And it's not surprising. It's a dicey area. It's a high level of service that would end in a mysterious and presumably large tip. But more than that, I find I just don't enjoy many things that most people find relaxing. Most notably, massages. Agonizing. Really almost unbearably painful. Same thing with pedicures. I can just make it through the stabby part and the ticklish part, but then they feel compelled to sort of top off the whole thing with this foot and leg massage, which I believe many women look forward to. But I get through it by holding my breath and clinging to arms. Or alternately, I dig my fingernails into the opposing palm until it's over. It took me years to get up the courage to simply decline the massage. It wasn't so much that I thought it was going to ruin this woman's day to not spend 10 minutes squeezing my legs. It was just that it was included in the service, and it seemed kind of rude not to have it. But still, spa day, October, I'm all over this. I'm looking through the available spa treatments. And I'm thinking facial, no. Nails, no. Massage, hell no. This leads me to what seems like the most probable treatment for me, which is a mud bath. I'm torn. On the one hand, I am totally good at taking baths. I do it all the time. And sitting in a tub where nobody touches you might be my ideal spa experience. However, there is also the mud. Do I want to sit in a tub filled with mud? This was not a question I had previously posed to myself, which suggested to me that I was not yearning to sit in a tub filled with mud, but I found I wasn't necessarily opposed to the idea. My biggest concern was that there would be mud seepage into my nether crevices. That seemed upsetting, and not like a thing you would pay to experience. And she assured me this wasn't going to be a problem, so this is the treatment that I opt for, and I will read to you how it is described on their website. Okay, it's perfectly lovely. Our classic mud bath, step by step. Undress in the locker room. Wrap yourself in a robe and wait in the garden for your attendant. Your attendant will help you into the tub, then cover you from neck to toes with warm volcanic mud. Bliss. 10 minutes. Rinse off in the shower. Soak in pure geyser water, rich in minerals and salt. 15 minutes. Delicious cucumber citrus waters offered throughout to keep you hydrated. Further cleanse yourself in a steam room scented with eucalyptus and lavender. 5 to 10 minutes. cucumber slices are placed on your eyelids. Take time to cool down, 15 minutes. Sounds nice, right? And we drive up to Calistoga, my parents and I, and it's a beautiful day. And we spend a few hours at the pool, which is gorgeous, and it's fed with hot springs, and because of the minerals in the water, you're very buoyant, and you don't really swim so much as sort of loll about. And I've reflected on this, and I think in terms of fanciness skills, I'm strongest in lolling about. It was going really well for me, and then occasionally we would get out of the pool and we would have some snacks poolside, which it turns out I'm also quite good at. Then it was time for our spa treatment, so we all head down to the main building, and my father goes off on his side, and my mother and I go. We put on our enormous bathrobes and our equally enormous plastic shoes, and we shuffle out to the garden to the turn. And I'm sitting there, and it's beautiful, and we're under the trees, and I'm drinking the famous cucumber water. And really, this is just a different kind of drier lolling about, so it's going really well for me. And then it's our turn. So the attendants come out, and because my mother is a normal fancy person, she goes to get a massage. And I go with a woman named Julia to get my mud bath. Now, I'm not sure where my mental image of mud baths comes from, but it's very clear, so I must have seen a picture somewhere. What I'm imagining is going to happen is that I'm going to go outside into some sort of patio. It's going to be this deep corrugated iron tub. It's going to be private. There will be walls on 3 sides, but it will be open to the sky and open in the front, and I'll be overlooking some kind of serene landscape. What I imagine is somebody will help me step into the tub, and the mud will be kind of viscous but yielding like oatmeal. And I will sink up to my neck, and then they will simply leave me alone, probably with some cucumber water. This is not at all what it is like. First of all, it's inside. So she takes me to the room, and it's really more industrial than it's concrete, and a lot of pipes, and it's kind of noisy. And it's really quite evocative of a boiler room. Only more nudity. So I'm trying not to be disillusioned, and I also want to appear that I'm no stranger to luxury spas. It's very important to me to be courteous to people who are providing me with service. And I want to follow the rules of mud baths. I'm very keen to follow the rules wherever there are rules. So I want to do it right, but I've never been to a mud bath, so I'm afraid I might do something wrong. I'm being as obliging as possible. So Julia takes my robe and my shoes, and then she stands by while I take a shower. It's like a very polite prison. She walks me over to my tub, which is across the room, and she introduces me to my attendant, who's a different lady. Her name is Maria, and she speaks very little English. I am equally eager to be courteous to Maria, but I find when I'm introduced to her that I'm ill-equipped for this particular social interaction. It really seems like something that would happen in a dream more than in real life. A dream where you are naked and you are introduced to someone with whom you cannot readily communicate, who is preparing to put you into a vat of mud. I do my best. The mud is also not like I envisioned. It's very thick, and they don't want you to step into it. They want you to sort of insinuate yourself upon it. And Maria indicates to me how to do this largely with mime. There's handles on the side of the tub, and I sort of fling myself on top of the mud, which is really not graceful maneuver. And then, once I'm lying there, Maria's job is to bury me in more mud. I guess at this point you're supposed to be feeling luxurious, but what I find is that I'm feeling ridiculous and embarrassed. I become very concerned about Maria's possible feelings about having a job where she buries rich, naked, white people. And I really want to say, you know what, Maria, I have got this. I will bury myself in mud, and you just go have some cucumber water. I'm not sure it's physically possible to appropriately bury yourself in mud, and I'm sure that it is against the rules of mud baths. So I try to just let it go. I close my eyes, and she completely buries me. My legs, feet, arms, hands, all the way up to my neck. She puts some extra mud on my face, and then she goes. And for about 3 minutes, it was pretty great. It feels like you're not in charge of your body, and it's restful. It's not like floating. It's like being tucked in. It's very cozy and snug, and if you wiggle your extremities, it's a little bit squishy, which is novel and a little bit of fun. So, additionally, I have it in my mind that this volcanic mud is doing some miraculous thing for my skin, and that I will probably look 22 when I emerge. So I'm having a splendid time. And then, at about minute 4, I start to get hot. Really hot. Oppressively hot. So, I really wouldn't say that it feels like being buried alive, which is weird because that's what it is. But I would describe it as being baked slowly in a large loaf of bread while being drunk. Very, very drunk. Like a teenager with bad judgment kind of drunk. Which is to say that I'm dizzy and nauseous and panicky. It's really actually among the most unpleasant feelings I've ever had. And I am surprised and disappointed in that the website describes the feeling I should be experiencing at this moment as bliss. But I'm not confused, because there's a clear causal relationship at work here, right? I feel this way solely because I am buried up to my neck in the hot mud, voluntarily. So, it would seem quite easy to remedy the situation. And for you, I'm sure it would have been. But you have to remember that I am the girl who suffered through years of agonizing foot massages rather than breaking the rules of pedicures. So I'm determined to stay in the tub until Maria tells me the full mud bath duration has been achieved. This is partially because I do not wish to break the rules of mud baths, partially because I'm afraid I will not get the 22-year-old skin if I get out early, and most perversely, because I want to get my money's worth. I consider pulling my arms and legs out of the mud, which I think would have helped a lot. But it would have been cheating. And at this point, there's another lady in the tub next to mine. And she's totally submerged and very placid, like a brochure mud bath lady. And I really don't want her to be fancier than me, so I compromise. And I just pull my fingers out and wiggle them a little bit in the air. And then I mostly just try to think about something else. Essentially, mind over matter my way through a luxury relaxation treatment. And about the midpoint, Maria comes to check on me. And instead of saying, I feel very ill and I think I should get out, I say, I'm quite hot. And what I'm hoping is that she will look at me and say, you look quite ill and I think you should get out. But of course she doesn't say that. She takes the mud off of my face and the backs of my arms and the tops of my thighs. She gives me a sip of cucumber water and says, a few more minutes. And she goes away. Fine. So I close my eyes and I get my money's worth of drunken teenager heat stroke panic. And several minutes later, Maria comes back. I'm very happy to see her. And I also am weirdly proud of myself, as if I have somehow completed an esoteric endurance competition. I sort of expect her to congratulate me, but she's a woman of few words. And she just sort of undigs me so that I can escape from the tub. I clamber out, cling to the handle, and I'm sitting on the edge of the tub, and I immediately feel like I'm going to pass out. So I feel that it will be somehow impolite to express to Maria the degree to which I am incapacitated. So I simply say, I'm quite dizzy. She is no slouch. She is right there with the cucumber water, but I feel as if maybe we've moved beyond the curative. I'm paralyzed on the edge of this tub, and I'm looking at the shower, which seems impossibly distant. Although I think it's maybe 6 steps from where I am. And I'm thinking, I would really like to be in the shower under copious amounts of cold water. But what I would really, really like is to lie down on the floor. So I start concocting this fantasy wherein I crawl to the shower, and I lie on the floor of the shower, and somebody turns the water on, which seems to me like the best possible scenario. But what actually happens is Maria and Julia help me walk to the shower. I stand there quite briefly, but I'm having a lot of trouble standing up, and my fantasy about lying on the floor is getting more and more vivid, as I am now quite certain that I'm going to throw up. It does not say this on the website, you'll note. Emerge from the tub, be too dizzy to walk, crawl to the shower, curl up on the shower floor. And yet, I'm obliged to say to Julia, I think I'm going to be sick. She quite sensibly inquires whether I would like to go to the bathroom. And I so much would like to go to the bathroom, because throwing up on the floor of the spa treatment room seems like, if anything, the antithesis of fancy. But I think it over, and the bathroom is really quite far away from where we are. It's down a long hall, it's past the locker room and past the lobby, and really one step out of the shower makes it abundantly clear that I can't walk that far. Also, I am naked and covered with mud. So I tell them that that's not going to be possible, and they sit me down on this. There's this wooden bench right outside the shower, and Maria hands me a bucket. I'm naked and covered with mud, dry heaving over a bucket, which I'm holding between my knees. Maria goes and fetches an ordinary garden hose and begins to hose me off. Julia stands behind with a cold compress and several paper cups of cucumber water, just in case. Meanwhile, about 5 feet away, the brochure mud bath lady is relaxing, oblivious, photogenically in the manner of Gwyneth Paltrow, and occasionally when I look up from the bucket, I'm able to ponder life's injustices. I get cooled down enough that I think I'm actually not going to be sick after all, and to prove it, I give the bucket back to Maria. And now that I am slightly functional, I'm trying to salvage the social situation by behaving as though I'm a lady who's had a touch too much sun at the garden party, and I just this is not totally working because I am still naked, and Maria's continuing to but we agree to pretend that it is working. Now, according to the website, the next thing I should be doing is taking a bath in mineral water. But the truth is I'm still very dizzy, and my enthusiasm about lying on the floor has not noticeably diminished. So Julia sensibly skips over that part, and she helps me to walk to this room where I'm allowed to lie down. So it's a tiny little room. It's very clean and white, and I'm sure had I been feeling better, it would have been perfectly pleasant. But I was feeling so terrible that it evoked nothing so much as any movie I have ever seen featuring a hospital from World War I. So they wrap my head in cold towels, and she tucks me in like a World War I casualty to the little white cloth and leaves me to ponder my various humiliations, which I do at some length. But I do meanwhile cool off. And when she comes back and inquires whether I would like to take this bath, I would. So we walk back to, and I'm apologizing the whole way, walking back, so sorry, to the treatment room. And I'm able to walk in a straight line unassisted, which is exciting progress. And she takes me to the less prison-y side of the room. It's really quite pleasant. There are 3 freestanding bathtubs, and they're filled with cool mineral water, and there's this high window, and it's really quite lovely. And as I'm stepping into the bath, I'm feeling pretty good, because I am very practiced in taking baths with water, and I know it's going to go well. So as I step in, I think, and what's more, having already been hosed off, this bath isn't even about cleaning myself. So really, we've come full circle back around to lolling about. And I do some quality lolling in that tub for a good 15, 20 minutes. And I really do feel pretty well. I'm cool, I'm clean, my back is to Maria, which is excellent. And nobody has handed me a bucket for at least 30 minutes. So things are on the upswing. Julia comes to check in with me, and she does note that there's a part of the treatment that I have not yet experienced. And vis-a-vis getting my money's worth, this is concerning. But we politely agree that it is probably best for me to forego 10 minutes in a sauna. And she gives me an additional 15 minutes in the World War I cot. And this time, I have to say I really do enjoy it. I'm calm, I no longer feel sick or dizzy. I'm lying there and listening to the New Age music, and they put these cucumbers on my eyes, so at least I will have the eyelids of a 22-year-old. And I really do feel quite peaceful and, briefly, fancy. And that is until I begin to reflect on the unusual levels of service that have been provided to me, and panic about what might be the appropriate.